Irish. The weather was wonderful and all the children and their parents and all the teachers were just wishing that school could be over, especially the primary sevens. It had been an awful hard year for reasons everybody knew and didn't want to talk about. And the P7s, well, they were looking forward to leaving school and starting high school in August. Well, their teacher, her name was Mrs. Irwin, and she was going to be finishing teaching that very year, and she'd known these children since they were in primary one. If you'd put their handwriting in front of her, she would have known whose was Natalie's writing, whose was Richard's writing, whose was wee Cherie's writing. She knew them all inside out and backwards. And she decided that she wanted to give these children a special present because she was leaving teaching and they were leaving primary 7. So she brought herself down to the local beach to Goodby Bay. This was her favourite place in the whole world. She used to come down after school and have a swim, and it was a great way to unwind at the end of the day. So she came down this day and she had a swim, and then she walked out all the way along to the end of the breakwater with her wee dog. That was her favourite walk. And as she was walking along, she was thinking, what kind of present could I give these children? What sort of present could I give them that they could keep forever? And they could give it away and it would get better every time they gave it away, and if they didn't give it away it wouldn't be of much value, and it would never wear out and it would never break. That's the sort of present I want to give them. Well, she got out to the end of the breakwater and she sat down in front of the tall tower where it was always a good place to shelter from the wind, and she closed her eyes and she fell into a wee daydream. And in her daydream, well, next thing she was being taken away to this strange planet, and she landed on this strange planet and she was in amongst this busy square with lots and lots of people, from little people to barking dogs to old people, and in the midst of the square there was a stone plinth, and the body of a man who had died was on the plinth, and all the folk were dressed in these kind of grass green robes, and everyone began to say, God bless you, God bless you, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye and hello, goodbye and hello. And well, Mrs. Irwin, she turned to a little boy beside her and she said, what's happening? The wee boy looked at her like she was daft. He said, do you not know? Sure, everybody here knows this is a ceremony of goodbye. But said Mrs. Irwin, I don't understand. Why are they also saying hello? Oh well, said the wee boy, that's awful simple. He said, because for every goodbye there's a corresponding hello. Well, she said, that's marvellous. And then her eyes stood out wide on stalks, because in front of her eyes this man's plain grass green cloak began to transform. It was as if invisible hands were weaving all these incredible shapes and colours and patterns into his cloak. There was red, there was turquoise blue, and there was gold. And Mrs. Irwin said to the little boy, what's happening? What's happening with his cloak? Oh well, said the little boy, this is the transformation of the cloak. And this happens at the end of a person's life. The cloak appears as the story of their life. Oh my, said Mrs. Irwin, is everyone's cloak as beautiful as this? Well, said the boy, it very much depends on the kind of life that's been lived. You see, we can tell from the colours of this man's cloak that he had courage. The red shows us there was courage in his life. The blue shows us that there was loyalty. And the gold tells us that he had a loving heart. What amazing qualities, said Mrs. Irwin, and what a wonderful life he must have lived. Well, the next thing, just before Mrs. Irwin woke up, she looked around the crowd and she realised that she recognised faces in the crowd. She realised that she recognised the faces of the boys and the girls that were in her primary 7 class. And then she woke up from her daydream and she realised that she had got the story that she wanted to give them. A story that they would have forever. They could give it away and still keep it. If they didn't give it away, it wouldn't be of much value, and it would never wear out and it would never break. And so the very next day she got into the school and she gathered all the children around, and they went outside. Actually, there was a wee part of the playground that was outside in a little wooded bit, and the children all sat down on tree stumps, and she told them the story of her daydream. And she said to the children, you know, children, I'm finishing teaching today, and you have been such an important part of my teaching career. And you know, I think at the end of my life, when my cloak transforms, you will appear in my story. And I hope that perhaps a little bit of our time together will appear in your story.